Hello, my name's Hemingway Jones and welcome. This is your place for all things stationery, curated particularly if you're into journals, fountain pens, inks, and inspiration. So today we're going to be speaking about this Galen Leather notebook system. I want to show you my setup, I want to show you how I use it, and I want to share with you what I'm doing in here, which is somewhat of a novel approach, certainly different than my other journals, and I'll explain that as well. But before this video is done, I really want you to have a good sense of the value proposition in Galen Leather, what you get, how you can set it up, and what you can do to elevate your own journaling. So join me today, won't you, as I take a look at Galen Leather's Traveler's A5 journal. So when I journal about my life or about my state of mind, my goals, where I want to go, I personally use bound leather journals like this one from Bottega Obscura. And you can see I have a bunch of bound leather journals behind me all the time when I'm recording my videos. They're very near and dear to me. They go back 25 plus years, and it's just fantastic for tracing different lines through your life. And I love them to be bound for that very reason, but there's limitations to that because it's a sort of separate book system. You fill it up with your life, usually in chronological order, you shelve it, and then you purchase another one. Whereas something like the Galen Leather system, it's a cover, of course, and you have inserts, and you can constantly refill it, and you can bond with the cover for a very long time indeed, because you can always change up what you put inside of it at a moment's notice, really, which is kind of interesting and exciting. If you're midway through a journal like this and you decide that you want a lined journal, well, it can take years to get through a journal like this. So there are some different advantages that contrast with how I normally journal. But what's great is it makes it very much a separation. I have my biographical journals, if you will, and they are behind me, bound. And then I have a system like this one. And the Galen Leather is the first one I'm going to be speaking about. But in subsequent journals, I'll be looking at Paper Republic. I'll be looking at Louise Carmen, so it should be really interesting. I started here because I'm quite fond of Galen Leather. They're usually at fountain pen shows. They have incredible products. I have a bag from them. I have a writer's box from them. Just think they're very exquisite. They're also very nice people, a small company. They're artisans. They care about the fountain pen community, and that's fantastic and makes me want to support them. But I'm still going to give you my honest opinion on what I think about this, the leather, the quality, and how it uses, and also a bit on how I filled this journal up and how I feel about how that worked out for me. So let's take a look at some of that. So right off the bat, this is one of the inserts, and I'll be speaking more about the specifics of this later, that you would put in a journal like this, and it's fine. It's not very aesthetic unto itself. But what it is a blank canvas. You can do whatever you like with this. You could put wallpaper on it, stickers, you could decorate it, make it really pretty. I put a rubber stamp on mine, as I'll show you in a little while, and you can tell me how effective that was. We'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the problems I think is, what do you do with these when you're done with them? The spines aren't very pretty. I mean, if you look at the Bottega Obscura journal, this spine is gorgeous. It looks fantastic on your shelf. And I know not everything needs to be about aesthetics, let's be honest, but still, not very pretty having kind of an insert like this on your bookshelf, piles of them. Maybe you put them in containers or a nice paper box or something. But that is one consideration. But I should also mention that you're not really limited to these kind of inserts for any kind of leather cover. You could wrap it around an A6 moleskin style journal, for instance. You could use pretty much any notebook and hold it on with the elastic band. So you're not really limited to these, but these are the easiest to get a hold of. They're certainly affordable, and I think that's huge. These can be anywhere from a few dollars all the way up to 20-something dollars, which is fantastic for the budget conscious among us, which I consider myself a member of that club. So I like that you can get some really fine paper, get some ink on it, write, do your projects, whatever it is, however you use your journal, for a really reasonable price, and keep the leather cover forever. That's a very exciting proposition when you think about it. And in a second, I'll share with you how I actually use mine. So we spoke a little bit about the nature of the inserts that go into these. Now let's just touch a little bit on the leather cover itself. So when you use a journaling system like this, the leather cover becomes the constant for you. That's what you bond with. That's what you hold for a very long time. You don't get that sense that you're putting it away forever the way you would with a bound journal, as if there's that sense of completion, it's done, it's going on the shelf. This stays with you, it evolves, it lives with you. It acquires dents, scratches, stains, and leather patina, all kinds of oil marks, everything else. I'll show you a lot of that on this shortly. So that is kind of a fun, interesting dynamic that's a bit different. And you don't have that huge sense of commitment the way you do with a bound journal. And bound journals, you have to pick with specificity, because something like this is a commitment. There's a lot of real estate in here to cover. It is a heavy book. This is like a hardcover book, which I love. That's what I like. But I need to carry this around wherever I go. That's a consideration if you want something lighter. A system like this, you can pull a book out, you can make it as lean as you want, as thick as you want, take whatever you need wherever you are. So it's fantastic if you have commitment issues. If you want to just switch things up, hey, this isn't working, I'm going to change entirely. You can do that. You don't have that kind of flexibility with a bound journal. This gives it to you, which is a huge plus for the whole system. And I also like that it's an artisanal item. It's a bit of leather, it's been tooled, it has embossing. It's interesting, we'll get into the details, but very, very interesting there. And it has kind of a adventure archaeology feel to it, if you will. It's the kind of journal you would think that someone taking field notes out on an expedition might use. And that's really compelling and interesting and sort of speaks to your own story. You become that kind of persona, that kind of character. It's fun to express yourself by your items, and it's fun to sort of de-digitize yourself, to select something more analog, something that's leather, that's a material that's been used for thousands of years, it's tactile, that responds to your touch, that holds your fingerprints in a way forever, in the sense that it starts to age and tan the leather further. That's all very, very compelling to me. I really like that. So this is, of course, the Galen Leather's Traveler's A5 journal. I just sort of wanted to go down the specifics of this one. These start at $29. To have it upsized to A5, as this one is an extra $23, which I think is a fantastic value proposition compared to some of the other brands that we're going to look at shortly. But I'll leave my comments on value for the end of this video. I also got this charming brass decorative charm here on the front of someone reading a book. It's called Reader. It was $12. I specified the red elastic as well. And for $14, I had my initials, TJS, embossed at the bottom here, which is a lot of fun. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the specifics of all these items and my upgrades and everything else. So I chose A5 because it's really my favorite size for most anything. I just feel like it's a very easy to write in size, just portable enough that you can take it wherever you need to go, but not so small that it could get lost or would be more difficult to write in. Although I will be trying different sizes in the future because I really do love A6, that it can slide in your pocket, that it's really easy to travel with, and especially when you're out in the field. This would not be fun to bring with me to a museum or whatnot. I wouldn't have a place to put it. I don't generally carry a bag or anything, and my wife gets mad if I give her too many things to carry for me. It's really not fair. I should just get my own bag, right? Let's be honest. Okay, so I do love the size, and I'll be speaking all about what I put in here and how that works, because it's really comfortable to write in A5. I think that's the most important thing. Okay, so red, I just think contrasts really nice with this crazy horse tan leather. It just looks fantastic. The actual elastic though, it's funny. I hate to be picky about elastic, but I'm here on YouTube to be picky about things, and I kind of want you to know everything. It's interesting. There's a balance with elastics that if they're too tight, they pucker and they look kind of constricted. And if they're too loose, they just feel like they're not going to capture everything that you put inside of it. Now, maybe it's only because I have two inserts in here, but I feel like it's slightly too loose, and especially compared to some of the other systems that I have. It works though, so I can't take points off for that, but it feels a little loose. The embossing of my initials, very nice. I love touches like this. The spacing is not perfect, especially between my middle initial J and my last initial S. I kind of like that though. I don't want a journal to look like it was corporately produced, that it was made in some factory assembly line and some machine pressed it in there. I want there to be things that are a little bit off. To me, that makes them interesting. It makes it more human. It scales it down to the personal, and I like that. You may feel differently, but I think it looks fantastic. The Galen Leather embossing on the back is beautifully rendered. They did a great job with their own logos, perfectly centered, and it looks brilliant. I also want to talk a little bit about Crazy Horse Tan Leather. I love Crazy Horse Tan Leather. I love it in boots, so I'm definitely going to love it on a journal. It has a lot of character. It's also the kind of thing that tans continuously in a way, that it's vegetable tanned, not chemically, which is beautiful and brilliant, but as you touch it and interact with it, as you maybe even spill your coffee on it, whatever it is, all this will help with the tanning process, and it will get more supple, more smooth as you use it. And I think that's brilliant. I love it. It's also a little rough out on the back, which is very tactile. It has a bit of sueding, just a lot of character. And if you look at it, it has all those glorious imperfections that I personally love in leather. Luxury leather often finds the pieces that have the fewest imperfections. I don't like that. I love leather. It has a bit of a wrinkle here and there that has some character and some record of the time that's passed and all the imprints on it. I love that. I love color variation. I love a bit of depth to leather, and this has all of that. So if you're looking for a very sterile piece of leather, something you might find on an Hermes handbag or whatnot, this is not that. This is a much more artisanal piece with a lot of distinctive character. So this leather cover is evolving magnificently. The Crazy Horse Tan Leather is interesting. It's treated with natural waxes, so it doesn't have a chemically feel to it. It doesn't feel as if it's been destroyed by its processing, but it does take scratches and it does take hits. So you will see that, but they don't remain. So I could claw this and you'd see these incredible scratches down here. And then I could rub it lovingly with my hand and restore it with some patina to blending in. And that's what's magnificent. It just sort of, you see a layer as it evolves, and that's fantastic. Now, along those lines, this brass decorative item on the front, it does sort of a braid and wear on the cover, especially when I travel with it and carry it around as much as I have been. And I've been carrying this for about 2 months in use. So you can see there is a discolored line here on the front from where the bottom abrades. Now, you could use some kind of leather protector or something like Picard's or something to blend that in, but I would say don't. Please don't. It puts something between you and the leather that's just not necessary. All it takes is some gentle caressing. Just touch it. Be tactile with it. It's warm. It wants to be touched. That's what's fantastic about this. It just has an almost organic feel in your hand. Very, very nice. There's a few other things I want to comment on. The leather itself just gets so much more supple over time. You can see it's almost closing now. It's just sort of bending over my inserts. That's very nice. Now there's a couple details here that you might not see in different other journals. There are no grommets where the elastic is threaded through. So if that's something you're looking for, you won't find it here, but at $42, I think that is acceptable, makes sense. Also, I didn't get any charms. I'm not a charm guy. Jiggly charms would just sort of drive me a little nuts. It would just sort of throw me off. Now, we will be looking at a journaling system with charms in a few weeks, but not something I would choose for myself. I like things to be sort of tight, well organized, useful, streamlined. As for the thickness of this cover, I use my trusty digital calipers, and I'm getting readings of around 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. On the sides where it's bending over, it's a little thinner now. I think that's from use, but I like that there's variations. It shows that it's handcrafted. If it were uniform, where would the romance be in that? I really like this decorative reader figure. It kind of reminds me that what I'm doing with this is very academic, but it is a bit fiddly. Sometimes it's upside down. Sometimes when it's off, I have a hard time orienting it at all. It gets a little twisted. Then I'm handing it to my wife and asking for help. You know, maybe I wasn't very good in space relations, but she always does a great job of straightening it out for me, which is very nice. But there can be a downside to that. If you don't like things that are a factor, just another variable to keep things straight, you want something a little more no nonsense, maybe you would forego something like this or put it to the back. It's really your choice. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about my system that I'm using here. And there are some things to consider, because if you choose the wrong inserts, your experience with it can really suffer. And one of the things that I didn't consider is that if something's underneath it, it creates a bump and it makes it a little harder to write on. I'll show you what I mean. I bought this nice sort of pocket off of Amazon of all places, because I was looking for a way to carry my fountain pen. There's really nothing obvious here. I could certainly put it in my pocket, but beside clipping it to the cover, I was trying to think of a way of doing it that would be safe, that would keep it from flying away without having any kind of accident I didn't want. So I thought a nice pouch might work, and this one has a slide here that opens up, which is very nice. Truth be told, I think I used it once. It just sort of is awkward putting a pen in here. It just becomes so bloated and strange. And then this little mechanism here just becomes a little bump. It's abrading the cover of my insert. It's also there when I write. I feel it. I'm very much aware of it. So consider things like that if you're going to use it. Also, the card insert I got here for little things I might pick up on the way, museum stubs, maps, research things I might need. I haven't needed any. And this also has a structure to it. It's raised. There's highs and lows. It becomes a weird sort of geography beneath what I'm writing on, even with inserts in the way. It's like the Princess and the Pea. It just multiplies. So consider all this when you choose your inserts. Also, I chose the Wanderings 120 GSM paper. I bought it off of Amazon. I thought it would be a good option. It's very thick paper, very robust, very affordable at around $8 to $10. There's multi-packs available, all sorts of things. Wanted to have an option that I could share with you that would be really easy and affordable for you to find as well. So the paper has been pretty good. Hasn't quite lived up to 120 GSM the way I thought. And that's the funny thing about paper ratings. Thickness isn't everything. Absorbability has a lot to do with it, and it's harder to assess that. You really need someone like me who has tried it to let you know. But I would say that it's at least 90% of the way there. In casual writing, it's fine. Where I get into trouble is when I'm drawing, or if I'm putting one of my stamps that's loaded with ink. Then it starts to ghost and absorb its way through, and you can see some of that in this. But once you commit to it, as I did, once you start, it's hard to then switch. I could have, that's the point of these, but I put so much work into the early pages that I didn't want to take it out. Now, a positive of the A5 inserts is that they will lie flat. You just have to wrestle it a little bit, a little bend, a little coercion, and it'll lie flat for you. And the paper finish is very nice. It has a nice feel. It takes fountain pen inks very nice. It expresses the colors very, very nicely. And boy, did I use a lot of colors while I was doing this, a lot of drawing, a lot of different things. So what did I actually use this for, and how does it differ from my other journals, my biographical journals, for instance? Well, something very specific. And let's talk, you and me, let's have a conversation about this. So I don't know about you, but I'm curious about so many things. One of the reasons why I started my YouTube channel was to sort of force me to research things I was curious about so I could present them to you in an interesting and compelling manner. I went to Rutgers University. I worked full-time while I went through school. I felt like I didn't quite get everything I could have out of my university experience, but I did learn a lot, and I was, it led to good things. It took me 7 years to get out of there, but I did it, and I had no debt. Of course, that was in the late 1980s, early 1990s. You couldn't do that now, so I'm very fortunate. But what it did do is give me a keen sense of how much there is to know, as Robert Plant would say. Many times I wondered how much there is to know. There are sort of building blocks of my education that are just open. And I know a little bit, but I'm so curious about, or I think I know a lot, but there's so much more I don't know. I'm never so cocky to think that I know everything. And I'm very curious. So what this has become is my incomplete education journal. Those things that I want to know more about, I delved into and pulled out the facts that I need, not to a graduate level, but more a cursory conversant level. So I would know and I would feel satisfied that, okay, I've covered it, I get it now. The things I was curious about are now satisfied. And it makes it sort of wide-ranging, not very well organized, but it is all in here as a notebook, is something I can go back to and study if I slip a little and I forget a little bit. And I did this through a very interesting method, which really doesn't fit under this video, but I will visit it very soon and kind of give you how I am ongoing this idea of an incomplete education and how much I want to complete mine, which, hey, we know I won't be able to. We'll never complete our educations, but it's good to stay curious, to stay engaged with our academic pursuits, to stay engaged with the world. That's how you know where you fit in the world. You have access to things. You're always stimulated. You want more experience. You want more ideas. And it just makes life, I think, much more enriching and interesting. And it gives you a sense of humility and kind of, you know where you stand in the nature of things. And I think that's good. So I did quickly want to mention how this differs from a commonplace book. So with me, this is a course of study. This is me shoring up those foundational blocks of different things that I feel like I needed to know. I sort of developed a course for myself, went out and learned it, and used this as my notebook that I can refer back to in learning about these subjects. So it's almost as if I were attending a school lecture or whatnot. Whereas a commonplace book is more like a collection of quotes, of different ideas and things that I stumble across in my research in my daily life. It's often other people's words, other people's ideas, sort of collected in a book for me to think about, to learn, to internalize, and then form opinions on later. This is very much my distilling knowledge in a course of study so that I can learn it, internalize it, remember it for the rest of my life, and no longer feel that I missed learning comprehensively about a subject I care about. I hope that distinction makes sense. It certainly does for me. So my first insert is lined, which works magnificently for this. And when I drew, I just drew over it, the lines, and I don't mind that at all. I did use my printer for some things, which is very nice, a Lien PixCut S1. This is the one that can cut out stickers and attach it here. Truth be told, I often forget to set it up, so I don't use it as much as I should. I haven't maximized it, but it's fantastic for finding a reference photo, cutting it out, sticking it on so that you have something that corresponds with what you're writing. So in here you have some of the topics that I wanted to know about, things from Richardsonian architecture to Notre Dame to Vivaldi, my favorite composer, to the country of Norway, various things, demographic information, lots of fun, fascinating things. I learned so much in this book. Sometimes my drawings are decorative, sometimes they're very specific to what I was writing. I'd love it to be more specific and less decorative, truth be told. I even have a section on trolls, not the internet kind, actual trolls, because I was curious about that in the history of the Scandinavian countries. And I'll also talk about how I acquired some of this knowledge. Pretty interesting. That's going to be an interesting video that I'll do soon. Now, the other insert that I'm using is a sketchbook, but to say I'm using it is probably stretching because I actually haven't used it yet. I want to use it. I intend to draw some stickers that I want to use for my channel, and I just haven't started yet, but I'm really hoping to do so soon. I need to come up with some ideas and do something interesting and creative. So my idea here really is twofold, I suppose, to create things for the channel in regards to stickers in my drawing book here, which I hope to get to soon, and my incomplete education notebook, which I am absolutely engaged with and I adore. And I have a few loose ribbons. I could put two more things in here if I wanted to. I'm not a fan of these super stuffed notebooks that sort of look like George Costanza's wallet from Seinfeld, but I do like it to have a little bit of heft, a little bit of substance to it, as long as it's useful. And it should be useful if only I were drawing. So I need to do more of that. But time, oh time. I really wish I had more time. But part of all of this really, and part of why I love fountain pens, is that I sort of lament the loss of the analog world, if you will. I love typewriters, I love books, I love tactile things. I love candles, I love dark spaces, I love doing research. I love libraries. I love all the things that most people find really nerdy, and I just adore it. I love ink-stained hands. I love that I can customize things, be it a journal or my pen, my ink choices, my nib choices. I want to write. I want to have beautiful, expressive, romantic handwriting. That's an ongoing project as well. But all of this adds to this. I need to slow down. My job, my career is very hectic, very stressful, and I need a balance. And this is my balance. This gets me mostly off the internet. Research now is mostly done on the internet. I wish I could do it all at a library, but I just don't have that kind of time right now. So I just adore this kind of analog, slow, intentional writing, thinking, musing. I want to be in my mind more. So I will say I'm nearing the end of this notebook, and it's a little less emotional than one of my biographical notebooks. When I put one of these down, this has my heart, my soul, my secrets, everything I've done, the times I felt like I fell short of being the man I want to be. And when it's done, it's a chapter, a literal chapter of my life. That might be a cliche, but it's literal when it's enshrined in a journal like this. And there's that sense of closure. You close it. That is now over. You put it down, select another one, new journal, new beginnings. The experience is a little different with this. And maybe if you don't like the profundity of that kind of emotional loss that you suffer when you put a leather-bound journal away, this might be better. It's a little gentler. Certainly with this, it's knowledge. I'm proud of myself for trying to pick up on those things I missed along the way in the 6 or so decades I've been alive. And when it's done, it's more like a sense of accomplishment. Like, oh, okay, it's marginally pretty. It's nowhere near some of the beautiful aesthetic journals I've seen on Instagram, but for me, it's nice. It doesn't have ink smeared all over it. It's relatively legible and relatively decorative, and I put a bit of myself in there. I drew some of these things, and that feels nice. But it's sort of like, okay, it's done. Nice job. Put it away somewhere. Haven't figured that out yet. Grab another insert. Keep going. It's a little different. It's more like it's another inning. The game continues. Maybe that's better. Maybe there is no sense of loss there. Maybe there shouldn't be ever a sense of loss, but just feel like I put down the burden of history with my biographical journals. And with something like this, it's just off to the next idea. It's more like an excitement, like let's fill it up again. So much more to learn. Okay, so I do want to touch on value. We did a little bit along the way. This, I don't know, $60-something shipping. There might be a tariff. That's always a consideration these days. But compared to some other brands and some of what's out there, see, that's my problem with this. I think this is a tremendous value. It's from a fantastic brand. It's very small scale production, nice people, beautiful product, amazing smell. I can't impress upon you enough the beautiful tanning smell of this. It's so natural and so lovely. I love leather. And this is absolutely beautiful. The color is fantastic. The wear, it's just amazing. So it's hard for me not to recommend something like this. I really think that Galen Leather should be a serious part of the conversation. If you're looking at Paper Republic, you're looking at Louise Carmen. I can't wait to get my hands on some of those. I actually have Paper Republic here. I'm ready to jump on that next. I will be comparing and contrasting as I go. But for now, $60-something shipped to the US, well, with those add-ons. Fantastic bargain. Just so much value here. I'm really impressed. So what do you think of this style of journal? Do you use it yourself? Is there something more I could be doing? I'm always open to suggestions in the comments, and I'd appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video and you were following along, please subscribe. I'd love to have you here with me as I explore all the possibilities of journaling, stationery, and everything else that touches our world. So many interesting things coming up. And if you want to support the channel even more, I have a membership as well in the channel, and there is a pen pal group for Illuminati and Cognoscenti members, so you could write some letters to me, to some other people. It's absolutely fun and amazing, so I'd love to see you there. I also make new videos all the time, and I have a live show as well, so I can promise you we will see each other again very, very soon. In fact, where? Further up the road, maybe at a library, maybe at a stationery store, who knows, but we will see each other. So until then, take care, stay inspired.